Maya is here. I am Sensuality and Love Coach, and I am continuing my voice series, Feminine Mastery of Communication. And I am excited to delve into very tender topic. What does that mean to be loved? For us, for women, it is so important to feel loved, to be loved in a relationship. And this desire of to be loved is just tip of the iceberg because underneath there is a whole complex, multi-layered history and nuances of our heart. So it is a vulnerable topic. It is a vulnerable conversation to uncover for yourself, first and foremost. What does it mean for you to be loved? Because if you say to your partner, whether somebody you just started dating or somebody you've been together for years, I want to be loved, I want to feel loved, it means nothing for them because they might have their own idea of how they experience love, but that idea might be very different from how you experience love. In my previous video, I was talking about how it's important to be specific when you expressing your needs and desires. So if you're interested in that, go back and watch that video. But coming back into what does it mean to be loved for you? And here we want to go on a much deeper journey. Being loved means I'm safe. Being loved means I'm not alone. Being loved means I'm not abandoned. Can you confirm that I'm not abandoned? Can you confirm that you're not going to run away? Can you confirm that I can trust you? Right? You get into gist of it. Being loved, does that mean that I'm being provided? Being loved, does that mean that we create a family? Being loved, does that mean that we are monogamous? Like, what does that mean? There's so many different layers underneath of being loved. But ultimately, I want to touch on the topic of betrayal, abandonment, loneliness. Many of us grew up in a broken household where we were neglected or abandoned by one or more caregivers. And of course, that create lack of love. That creates the experience of lack of love. And then we developed twisted and sometimes toxic relationship with love because we willing to give everything for love. We willing to take crumbs and interpret it as care and attention. We willing to step over our need for, let's say, consistency or emotional availability and then get hooked on, right, like this hot and cold pull and push, closeness and avoidance dynamics, which ultimately just keep retriggering and hurting your wound. But you can still say, oh, I just desire to be loved and I want to be loved by this particular person who avoids me, who is not present in our connection, our interaction. And I still choosing it because I want to prove that I'm worthy to be loved because that's the history that I dealt growing up. And I want to finally rewrite the story. So, is that a good reason to chase love? Or is that even a good reason to be loved? Because you want to prove and heal your past experience? The truth is, then it's not going to be a thriving partnership where you both create your life together in harmony and elevate each other. That would be something else. And that's okay as long as you are conscious and aware about that. As long as there is no question mark or no delusion. Because ultimately, if you using love and relationship in a present tense to heal your past, chances are that is not a life-lasting partnership. That's just a temporarily healing process, and that's beautiful. But let's not label it also necessarily as love, because love in a through the lenses of relationship and the love that I'm assuming many people desire and want. I know a majority of women and men I worked with desire that. Requires two independent, centered, grounded, self-aware, emotionally mature people who are willing to take agency for their emotions, for their history, for their hurt, and not to throw it onto each other and blame each other and fight with each other, but know how to have an uncomfortable conversation, know how to take ownership of their experience and their reactiveness, and build bridges with their partner versus projecting whatever the past trauma that they are going through and experiencing. So it is crucially and critically important to understand for yourself when you say, I want to be loved, is this a mature, self centered, in a positive way, right? A woman who knows how to take care of herself? Is this a woman speaking who is in charge of her well being, who will not let anybody to walk over her, who would not step over her own needs and desires? Or is this a little abandoned, scared, deeply hurt child that wants somebody to comfort them? Because that's going to be a different relational dynamic. You're going to be vibrating a different frequency, and you're going to attract different kind of man. Because a man who wants to build a thriving family and show up in partnership, he will not be attracted to be a savior, and he will not be attracted to the energy of collapse, right? Where you as a woman collapse, and then he needs to like come in and either hold you, or he's a reason why you collapse, because that gives him a boost of um, confidence, right? Or a boost of I'm so powerful. So that would be a very different dynamic. And you cannot jump over the steps that you need to go through to heal uh, the experience of lack of love. Let's be honest. You're not going to heal it without experiences that would trigger that wound. So it totally makes sense to be attracted to somebody who's unavailable or who has certain qualities that, you experience growing up. Just be conscious of that. Don't call it um, my only one love or the best experience ever or the person I cannot live without, because none of that is that. And then comparing yourself to friends or other people who at a completely different stage of life. Because when we right, like use a concept of love but actually put something else in it and then comparing it to love, that just creates more trauma for your own experience, because that's a very different experience. So if you have a heavy baggage of being abused, being let down, being neglected, being hurt by somebody you deeply trust, I highly recommend to putting attention on healing that and working with that consciously, right? Nothing wrong with that. It's just that's my condition today. That's it. It's my condition. It's temporary. I'm going to get over it. And I want to just be conscious how I deal with that. Um, because again, clarity creates a winning experiences and winning strategies. And I'm happy to support, if that's you, support you on navigating this journey and unpacking that baggage. But when you communicate with your partner, be specific. What does it mean to be loved? How do you need to be loved? And what kind of quality, what kind of care you would like to receive from him? It's totally okay sometimes to ask your partner for comfort. It's totally okay to ask your partner for maybe like a very neutral, just grounded masculine, right? Where so he understands in which archetype, in which role he need to step into. Because in those moments, the dynamic might change. And that's okay. That's a beautiful experience. It's an opportunity for you to go deeper into exploring your intimacy. But it requires vulnerability. It requires for you to peeling the layers, looking at some parts of you that might not be necessarily beautiful. Same goes with attention. I want more attention. How does that look like? Which kind of lack of attention triggers you the most? um, Giving some context why, right? Being specific. When we talk about those big concepts of love and attention and feel taken care of and feel provided for, and especially when we tell men, oh, I want you to take a leadership. What does that mean? Because him planning something for you without knowing what is it that you want, very confusing, right? Or him hearing abstract words like love and attention will also not gonna help any of you to navigate it and to win. And this is what we do in my group for women voice, where we practice communication, we practice naming our needs and desires. We are being authentic. We are peeling those layers. We're taking off the veil. We're taking the fog of confusion and sitting with our truth. Because as long as you in alignment and you in full permission of your own truth, you will find the way to fulfill anything that you desire.